welcome everybody to the very first episode of the Moment of Madness podcast. Now, you being here for the very first episode, you get the unique opportunity to brag that you punch your ticket to this train wreck before anyone else, because this is going to be a train wreck. As I said, this is our very first episode, so I have no idea what I'm doing, so just hang in there. But yeah, this podcast is completely unscripted, unregulated, unfiltered, just unhinged, if we want to be honest. So, first thing I think we should talk about today is just the absolute pain in the ass it is to make a podcast on a Google Chromebook, because that is what I am currently using, and it has not been a fun time. Now, again, first episode ever, first time doing anything for social media ever. I am not sponsored by anyone, so I get to talk as much shit as I want to about Google and any other product, really, because I ain't sponsored by anybody. So let's start off with just the audio side of things. So to mix most audio for almost anything, you need a digital audio workshop or a DAW. And guess what? Audacity, I believe is the name, is like the biggest free audio workshop out there for anyone, and it's available on Windows and on MacBooks. And it's not available on the Chrome OS system. So I had to get, I don't know the name of it. It's like N-Track Tuner Pro. It's available on the Play Store. It's not great, we'll say that. And I used it to record the opening riff you hear in the beginning of the podcast in the intro. And that's about it, because jumping over to the video side of things for a second, the video editing software that I have that I had to get on a Chromebook is, again, supposed to be an app, because you have to download it off the Google App Store, Google Play Store, whatever. And it also doesn't work worth a damn. I am used to using Windows Movie Maker or whatever the MacBook version is. I used the MacBook version in high school and stuff for a project. Movie Maker I've used on stuff in the past that you all will never, ever, ever see, because not only did I never upload it because I didn't want to, it was never good enough in my opinion, and also that laptop got the blue screen of death quite a while ago, and I'm pretty sure I shot that laptop with a shotgun, so it just absolutely doesn't exist anymore, which is great for me, because you'll never see the true beginning of this journey. You only get to see the polished turd that I'm releasing now. Anyway, back to video editing software. The video editing software I have, I can. I just found it out today. But it's extremely difficult to split up the video and the audio into two separate layers, so I can edit audio separately of editing video. The system that I'm using, which you'll see it down here because I'm not paying for it, because I'm just going to get a new laptop eventually, but it's Power Director, I believe is the name. I don't know. I can't see it because, again, I can't even record the video for this podcast in that app. I have to use the camera app on my Chromebook, which puts it into my Google Photos files, and then I have to upload from Google Photos into the Power Director app, and then they add that little lovely watermark there, and then I have to fight everything for about an hour and to just get the most basic of editing done. I filmed like a short little intro where it was just like music plays, logo goes up, and then I basically sat here and went blah blah blah, 30 minutes of podcast, and outro music plays out. Probably not doing the music outro for this one. I apologize, but it's not worth it currently. But yeah, it was just they make it so unnecessarily hard. And it's just I'm not saying that somebody who's gone to school to do this stuff can't figure it out and they won't be like, "Oh, it's so easy. He's just an idiot." I am an idiot. That's why I have a podcast. Okay? um but yeah. Uh so just starting this podcast was just a pain in the butt, and I haven't even got to editing a full first episode. I've edited a 1 minute little skit. So when I get to editing this should be fun. So yeah, if you're looking to start a podcast here, stay away from Chromebook. Get get a Windows. Honestly, I would say. If you're a diehard iPhone Mac person, go for it. You do you. But hey, if you love Chromebooks and you think that I'm an idiot and Chromebooks is the best thing to go about it, let me know down in the comments. Better yet, hey, some community engagement. Y'all can fight about it down in the comments, and maybe I'll read them. I don't know. I don't care. I already have a plan set in mind, so you can fight about it all you want. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Uh, but please let your opinions out there. Let them be heard, because in the end, that is the most important thing: is getting your opinions heard. Um, Now, a lot of people have their opinions heard nowadays, and their opinions are wrong, and nobody tells them their opinions are wrong. And that's the thing. If you give a dumb opinion, we're going to let you know. But seriously, discuss it down in the comments. Everybody has their entitlement to an opinion. Again, your opinion could be wrong, and that's okay. But yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride here. Got a couple of guests that I'd like to bring on the podcast. Gonna share some wild stories and stuff. It's gonna be great. Uh, Unfortunately for this one, everything just happened so quick, fast, and in a hurry that kind of only had time for just me. Eventually, we'd like to bring on more guests too. I'd like to bring in my cousin and my best friend as guests, because eventually this podcast is just going to devolve down into us three having the crazy conversations we always have, and you guys just get to be a fly on the wall. I just have to convince them that this is worth doing first. So I gotta start making episodes and making some money. So please, oh please, share this so that way I don't have to do it alone. It's also going to be way more entertaining for you guys if you're not just listening to the mad ramblings of me. Let's get two other people in here so we can all go crazy together. But yeah, let's just talk about where this podcast should go and where I want it to go, and kind of let you guys into the inner workings of my mind. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm not telling you my name. You can just call me Mad Mike. Not telling you where I live, where I work, nothing like that, because y'all weirdos are crazy on the internet. All right. But anyway, I work 48 hours a week, every week at a factory job. Just getting by like anyone else. So yeah, don't come into this thinking that, oh, if you're a social media personality, you should know how to do this. I don't do social media. I don't have followers on anything. Yeah, I had TikTok for a little bit. I think I got up to 600 subscribers one time, followers on TikTok, whatever. And then I just, I don't like the communist app, so I got rid of it. It's going to piss a lot of people off. So yeah, I never had any massive following on any form of social media. let alone anything like YouTube or a podcast. Uh, so basically what I'm doing is I want this to become a source of income. However, due to YouTube's guidelines and policies and the things we'd like to discuss on this podcast being uncensored, unedited, and just off the rails, we're probably going to get into some topics that YouTube just doesn't like. And they're not going to monetize us. That's just a cold fact of life, but I'm not changing that because I believe that anyone that takes the time to listen to this podcast deserves to hear what's really on my mind and not edited and not censored. So this podcast is not going to make me any money, and it's not going to make anyone any money until we get enough of a following where I feel like we can start selling merch. Don't ask for it yet. We need a couple million subscribers before we start going for merch. Not, I should say a couple, like 2 mil, maybe 1.5 mil. I don't know. I have to do more research into that. Because I honestly, again, never done YouTube before. Never made any kind of videos or anything. So I don't know when most YouTube channels start selling merch. I am sorry. I don't know what's going on with me today. Everyone in the house seems to be getting sick. Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know when most people do start selling merch. But I'm going to have to look into that because merch is probably going to be where the podcast does start making money and stuff. When the podcast starts making money, this is going to get a lot better. Trust me. Like, I may not have done social media before, but I know that this camera is not the greatest camera in the world. I know this mic's not the greatest mic in the world. For lighting, I'm using white Christmas lights taped onto a mirror to reflect the light back this way at me. The backdrop's just an old bed sheet. So yeah, right now we are dealing with the bare minimum, and it's going to be that way for a while. Again, I work 48 hours a week to just barely get by supporting me and my family. So this is just how it's going to be for a little bit, and that's fine. We'll make do with what we got. But when this podcast does start making money and stuff, and even when I just get to a better position in my life where I can start putting more money into this, things are going to get better. But yeah, hopefully the goal is that this podcast just, hopefully, first and foremost, hopefully this reaches out and we talk about subjects on here that make our listeners think and want to make our listeners take action to make changes. Like, for instance, some of the things I'd like to talk about on this show eventually are how car companies are just releasing cookie cutter cars anymore. They all look the same, no matter on the brand or anything else. It kind of sucks. I don't like it. We need to go back to old school cool. It's just different government and issues and stuff. A lot of people don't like talking about that, but I do feel it's important. And just trying to get our listeners thinking about these things, forming their own opinions about these things, and then most importantly, encouraging them to get out and act and, let their congressman know that, hey, this is how I feel on this topic. This is what I want you to do. Because at the end of the day, America is not a democracy. We are a republic. We are for the people, by the people. And I do think that a lot of Americans seem to forget that. So for these first couple of episodes and stuff, that's probably what we're going to be getting into. Get into the deeper topics. We're going to definitely mix it with some gallows humor because that's how we approach everything. Especially me and my buddies. And I do think adding humor into these topics is the best way to get people to actually listen and absorb the information I'm trying to tell them. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of dark humor mixed in. I've been taking it kind of easy on this first episode just because it's the first episode. And again, I don't know what I'm doing. Can't stress that one enough. But if you're still listening and you have kids listening, this podcast is not for children. We are going to swear probably quite a bit. We're going to talk about some of the most off-the-wall things that are probably not safe for children. And yeah, just not for kids. Like, this is probably not the podcast you want to listen to while you're at work. Boss man might be very upset with things I said, especially if you work for Google. I should have put this out there before I went on that rant about the Chromebook and everything, but yeah, I'm gonna give my honest opinion on a lot of companies and stuff because I just want to be honest with you guys, and I feel like a lot of these reviews and stuff online are just companies paying for it or editing out the ones where they're like, oh, this is crappy, whatever. So if you work for any major company where your products might end up on the show, maybe don't listen to this at work or anything. Maybe don't talk about this podcast at work because there's a good chance that I'm going to offend everyone at some point in time, and that's fine because I'm going to treat everyone equally. I'm going to offend all of you. I'm going to make everyone angry at some point, and that's okay. Uh, I like doing that. It seems to be what I'm good at. And you know what? This best way to say this well, I'll just say weakling society that we have created where you can't be mean to anyone, no matter how mean they are to you. Um, it's bullcrap, and I think it needs to end. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're just driving my food to me from a restaurant that's 10 minutes away, and you take an hour to pick up my food, then run to your boyfriend's house and pick him up, and my food is cold by the time you get to me, I should be able to tell you that you're an idiot and not give you a tip because you are. So that's my point of view. Is I don't listen. I get everyone has bad days and stuff, but like, if you're a DoorDash driver, just know like the entire time you are driving around with our food, we can see where you are. So, maybe don't go pick up your boyfriend an hour away and then bring me my food 2 hours late because you wanted to go see your boyfriend. Yeah. But yeah, that's the kind of thing we're going to talk about in this podcast is how shitty the world has gotten and how off the rails it is and everything else. We're going to talk about history because I feel like history's the best early warning system. And yeah, we're going to talk about everything from the founding fathers to today's hot mess because the world's going in the shitter, and I think we need to talk about that. Yeah, but again, completely unscripted, so just trying to figure out what I'm doing. All right, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. We're back. A bit later, I decided to go make some ribs while we were down because I'm hungry and I don't care. Yeah, it's only 9:08 at night. I'm gonna make ribs that take fucking 2 hours to cook. That's fine. I honestly don't remember where we were or what we were talking about. I'm not going back in the video to look it up. I don't care. I'm starting to get a little bit of a cold. That's awesome. Alright, so no idea what we're talking about. So let's just move on to something else. And I don't know if the microphone's picking that up, but if you do hear a whistling sound, it's the wind outside because I don't know why it's windy as hell. But it's pretty loud. I can hear it. And I don't know if it's coming through the microphones or if it's just or headphones, whatever. Yeah, these don't block out sound as good as they think they would, but I can still hear it with the headphones on, so if it is coming through the mic, that's what it is. I'm not that terrible at audio, but I don't fucking shitty Chromebooks are, so I guess we should talk about something of historical relevance. That was one of the things I told my friends that I was going to discuss a lot of history, but it would have been smart. Should have looked up the history of podcasts. Could have done that. Been very meta. But I don't. Oh, couldn't talk about one little history tidbit thing. If any of y'all know, like, how Christmas time there's this big thing of people heating up Dr. Pepper and drinking it warm Dr. Pepper around Christmas. That was never, ever an actual tradition thing. That was a marketing ploy by Dr. Pepper to get people drinking more Dr. Pepper in the cold winter time. I mean, it's middle of February here, and wind's howling, and I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, so I don't know why they felt the need to do that, but actually, that's a good subject we can get into. So, best way to go about this. All right, does anybody remember the Gotten Milk campaigns back in the 90s? All right, so I'm not going to go into the full thing. If you really want to look into it, the Fat Electrician did a video on, like, government cheese conspiracy. Look up his video, just type in Fat Electrician, government cheese. He's going to explain it way better than I can. But basically, the Got Milk ads that we watched as kids back in the 90s and early 2000s and stuff was, there was no company behind that. It was just Got Milk, and never said a brand of milk or anything. And that was because it was a government psyop. Because I'll just try to do it real quick, but so basically, Prohibition happens, right? America says no more alcohol, anything, and all the bars are like, oh, I don't want to lose my business, so they become, ice cream parlors, and ice cream fills the social void that alcohol once filled, for like 2 generations, all the way up through World War II and stuff. So a bunch of, a whole generation of people are now treating ice cream how we treat alcohol. Like, instead of going out to the bar with your buddies, you'd go out and have ice cream. To the point where the U.S. Navy ships, to this day, still have to have an ice cream machine on them. But there was all these war-fighting Americans in World War II and such that were, eating ice cream, like, all the time. And, like, ever hear the term of feeding an army? Yeah, we're eating a lot of ice cream. So, anyway, because of that, it was like the first time in American history becoming a dairy farmer was like a viable job, full-time job. You could just do just dairy cows. You don't have to do any other kind of farming. Dairy cows would make you enough money to sustain yourself and your family. Fast forward, and the war ends, prohibition's lifted, all that. Now we don't have all these, young guys going off to war eating ice cream and stuff, and people are starting to go back to the bars and stuff again and eating less ice cream. And the dairy industry just plummets. It starts crashing. And, sorry, I probably should have chugged 2 sodas before doing this. I apologize. Anyhow. Dairy industry starts to crash, right? So the government's like, all right, we'll buy up all the milk because we don't want the dairy industry to die. So we're going to subsidize the dairy farmers, and we're just going to buy all the milk. Like, any excess milk that farmers have, the government will buy. So, and steal a line from the Fat Electrician here. If you're guaranteed to sell milk, no matter how much you make, what do? You make more milk. So the government's buying all this milk, and there's just so much excess. They're like, all right, how do we store it? Well, they turn it into cheese. Anyhow, get this huge surplus of cheese found up. And again, go watch his video. He does it much better than I can. Super entertaining guy. But yeah, whatever. Now America has all these cheese mountains and stuff. Nixon comes in as president. He says, we're not spending tax money, refrigerating all this cheese. And he originally just wanted to throw it in the ocean, but they're like, no, let's give it away to people. So that's where government cheese comes from. Little tidbit for you. But what also happens is they create like a dairy management agency, part of the FDA, I believe. But their whole thing is like all dairy farmers are going to pay them, and they are going to market milk, dairy products on the farmer's behalf. So, in doing so, they're like, we want to get rid of all this cheese we have stored up, and we don't want to be buying all the milk anymore. So they start doing the milk ad, or the Got Milk ad campaigns, and basically telling kids, like, drink your milk, or your bones are going to fall, or your arms are going to fall off and stuff, and create strong bones, this, that, and everything else. What they also did is they saved Domino's from going out of business by telling Domino's you're going to put more cheese on your pizza, and therefore your pizza is going to be better. They do the same thing with, I think, like Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, if I'm not mistaken. But the reason I bring this up is because if you watch a lot of YouTube, or I'm pretty sure you can just go on YouTube right now and just look it up on YouTube, but The Rock just released a brand new Got Milk ad campaign. Domino's is now advertising how cheesy their pizza is again. And I believe Taco Bell's coming out with some new stuff that has like just an unhealthy amount of cheese in it. And it just blows my mind because if you can't tell, I am a fat electrician fan, so I found out about this. It's like, it's weird they're doing this when everybody now knows that this is a government psyop. And I was sitting there, I was like, why? Why would they start doing this again? Everyone knows it's a psyop now. Like, it's weird, the timing. And then I got thinking, what got popular, really fucking popular in the last couple of years? Almond milk and milk substitutes. And it's just like, and I don't know this true. This is me speculating. I haven't done much research into it yet. I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh my God, there's so many people drinking almond milk right now that the government's storing cheese in mountains again, and they need to get rid of it again, so they're just going back to the same old playbook. And I find that just hilarious for one. Also, just like, why am I spending so much taxes? Oh my God. No, because an ad came out before Trump and Elon took office. I was about to say, oh my God, is this Elon's doing? Because he's trying to like cut down in government spending with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Ad came out before then, so it was put into place beforehand, but still. I just thought that's really funny that that's coming back. But yeah, that's why I do say that history is the best early warning system, because like this one is just like a dumb little thing. Not really harming anybody or anything. Like, you just gotta drink more milk. On the milk topic, though, let's also discuss how Trump won Pennsylvania because a bunch of Amish people went out and voted. Because in America, it's a dumb law. I don't agree with it, but it's a law. It's been a law for fucking years. But you can't buy raw milk. It all has to be pasteurized. Unless you're part of a health club, apparently, and there's like some loophole where health clubs can sell raw milk as like a medical benefit or whatever. But a bunch of Amish people started like these health clubs and stuff so they could sell raw milk to people because people want raw milk. And the Joe Biden administration, with all the fuck-ups they had, the one to do right before an election is to raid all of these Amish farms and have them dump and dye their milk, or their raw milk, so they couldn't sell it anymore. Which, when you know that the entire election pretty much hangs on who wins Pennsylvania, raiding a bunch of people in that state and turning them against you is probably the dumbest move I've ever seen any. I won't go there. One of the dumbest moves in modern times I've ever seen any politician make right before a major election. So, whether you like Trump or not, you can thank the Amish for that, because I mean, thank Joe Biden for that. It's just, let's bring back the thanks Obama meme and just thanks Biden, because Biden screwed over the Amish, and they decided they're going to go out and cast their vote, make their voices heard, and create change, which is their right, their duty, and I commend them for that, because hey, that's what more people need to do. But yeah, little rant on milk there for whatever reason, because again, this is completely unscripted. But yeah, that was just, it's weird how history repeats itself and how politically dividing milk is, apparently. Which is just insane, because the amount of people that are lactose intolerant that still drink milk, myself including. I fucking love milk and chocolate milk and cheese, and I don't care. It gives me tummy issues. It tastes good, so I'm going to eat it. Which I feel like I'm just stealing the Fat Electrician's video at this point, but it's just, everything's like connected in, and just look up how much money these like top leaders in the dairy management industry make, because it's insane. They make like almost $1 million a year. Telling Americans, the society where we have lactose intolerant people that still eat milk because it's worth eating, they make millions of dollars telling America that cheese and milk is good. It's insane. It's crazy. But yeah, one of the weirder things that the government has done to trick American people, that actually, I don't think it's bad, and I know it's a polarizing opposite, because there's a bunch of people out there that think milk's the worst thing for you and it's so bad, but yeah, it's whatever. There's worse things the government has done. Let's not even get started on that stuff, or else this is going to be a 2-hour podcast, and nobody wants to listen to me just sit here and bitch for 2 hours. But funny little thing. But yes, definitely go check out the Fat Electrician's video on that, and any of his videos, really. I do believe they are really entertaining, and I very much so enjoy watching that. But see, now I'm just thinking, because sure, a lot of and I don't know if I can actually show this on YouTube, but I just put Zins in. That's why I keep spitting into a bottle. And I'm usually a Copenhagen straight guy, but been getting a lot of heartburn from that, so I switched over to Zins. Most of the time, I still get Cope straight, just because like there's times I just need that immediate hit nicotine, But it makes me wonder if the government was so worried about the dairy industry. America's tobacco industry is not nearly as big, but it's still a decent size. And with all these new cigarette and chew alternatives coming out, is the tobacco industry crashing? Is the government, I don't know, is the government going to start finding a way to subsidize the tobacco industry or something? Well, I guess with the legalization of marijuana in most states for medical or recreational use, I don't partake, but it is becoming legal in more and more states, and hey, if it's helping medically, then hey, all for it. I don't care. As long as it's not affecting me or my family, I don't care. America is based on everybody having the freedom to do what they want, and I feel like it needs to stay that way, and that's just where I stand. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it, but if it starts causing a problem for other people, your freedoms do not allow you to harm anyone else. It's do what you want to do in your own home, but if it starts becoming a problem, then we need regulation and stuff. But I don't think anyone sitting at home getting high on their couch and eating their food I don't think that's a problem. I feel like there's much bigger things that are a problem that are completely legal. I don't see an issue with marijuana being legalized. I do think that we need to come up with a way for like a DUI test for marijuana, the same way we do for alcohol. Like, just don't go to work and be high, and don't go driving your car when you're so fucking high that you can barely move. But that's my take on it, is that should it be banned completely the way it was for years and years and years? No, I don't see that much of a problem with it. Should it just be given free reign where people can just drive high as hell, go to work high as hell? No. No, I do think it needs to be treated pretty much just like alcohol. Don't drive high, don't go to work high. But it's making a test, a quick test that they can do in like a DUI stop, basically to test to see if you have the mental fortitude to be driving right now. I think that's what we need. And that's just a safety thing. But, yeah. See, that's the thing. This is so unscripted that even the time I was making ribs, I didn't really even think about anything else to talk about. I'm so bad at this. This is such a bad podcast. Why are you watching this? What life choices did you make to lead you here? Probably the same as mine. But Navy is testing a new directional energy weapon, a laser. It's a laser. That's what it is. That's cool, but if you were in the service like I was, or if you're interested in history or military technology at all, you know that the government doesn't tell us we have something until they know that, oh, we already have something better than this, or they know they're not going to use it. It's like the railgun. Like, that's a cool piece of technology and stuff, but they understood that they weren't going to implement it, so it didn't matter if people knew about it. Like, we have the katana, like, it's a sword missile. It's what it is. I don't know the exact classification of it or anything, but it's a missile that has a bunch of katanas that, like, flay out of it. And it's super accurate to the point where if you want to strike somebody in a car, you need to know what seat they're sitting in. We've used it a couple of times now, but the government still doesn't acknowledge that we have it. It's still like, no, we don't have a missile with swords on it. But here's pictures of a strike we did where you can clearly see that this is the missile we used. It's insane. Or the new, I don't know, it's like the Dark Star. I think it's supposed to be like the SR-72 replacement of the SR-71 Blackbird. Insane plane, and I could go off on a rant. You know what, we need to fill some time. Let's go off on that rant. No, actually, no, we don't. We have already 20 minutes into this one and 17 in the other, so... Alright, you're going to get a little bit more than a half hour now, because now I feel like I need to talk about this. Which I think... Again, I don't mean to be stealing the man's thunder. Nick, the fat electrician, is much better at this than I am. Which I think he did a video on this. I can't remember where I found this information now. But the SR-71 Blackbird, very famous plane, completely decommissioned now. But one of the reasons it's still decommissioned because there is no surface-to-air missiles that can touch this plane. It's just too fast. But one of the reasons we can't make it anymore is because nobody remembers how we made that plane. Because titanium is a work-hardening metal, so it gets harder to work with the more you work with it. So nobody remembers how we did that. And during the Cold War, we had to make a bunch of like fake companies to buy titanium from Russia in order to get to the U.S. to make this plane. So we basically just took all of Russia's titanium and used it to spy on them, which is hilarious in my opinion, because the hell with communism, but it's just funny. But then the SR-72 comes along, and the first time anyone's ever seen this plane or heard about it, if you didn't look into it like I did, But the first time you've seen like a working prototype is in the new Top Gun movie, because I guess the government's like, yeah, you can use this high top secret plane in your movie because we're going to declassify it shortly afterwards anyhow. So in the movie, it shows up and it shows like, oh, this is insane futuristic technology, and it's just movie for show and stuff. Then a couple months later, the United States government's like, no, we are releasing the SR-72 Black, or what's it called? I said the name of it before, and now I can't. I just want to say Blackbird, and it's not the Blackbird, Darkwing or Black Star or some shit, whatever it's called. But they're like, yeah, that plane you see in the movie, that's real. We're working on that, and like we have flying prototypes now. It's just insane. I believe that it's going, and laptop's telling me it's dying, so that's awesome. Gotta wrap this up quick then, I guess. But it's just insane, like, what the government will keep secret from us as far as military technologies go, and then the fact that they'll just release that in a movie and be like, this is real, this is what we have. Which tells me that, one, what that plane is capable of is more than what they're telling us, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, it's going to be fun, it's going to be cool. I like military technology. A lot of people will sit there and, oh, we spend so much on military spending and military defense and stuff, and oh, our defense budget's too high. It's a waste of money. No. America is able to be the land that it is, and we're able to keep our enemies at bay because of how much we spend in our defense budget. That's why we police the world. Because no other country can touch what we have. Because nobody knows what we have. And it's just, I don't know. It's awesome, but I'm going to wrap this podcast up because now I have to let my laptop charge up before I have to go into editing this. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this very first episode of the Moment of Madness podcast. I swear to God, I didn't drink anything during that technical breakdown or technical issue we had. I promise you I didn't. I just can't talk because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of the Moment of Madness podcast. Please do what you will with the information I gave you. Look into it, research more. If you don't agree with something I said, speak up about it. If you agree with something I said, speak up about it. Hey, that's what America is based on. Y'all beautiful people have a wonderful day, night, whenever I release this. But adios. See you guys later.